Happy Friday, everyone. Today is March 27th, 2015. We're going to be looking at the surface areas for cylinders and cones today. Be sure and write your title and your date. We will be having that on our notes quiz. Our first formula we're going to look at for cylinders will be for the lateral surface area, LSA. And this formula is 2 pi r h. The second that we'll look at will include the area of the bases, so this will be our total surface area, which is 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. Now if you look closely, this right here would be the circumference of our circle base. So that would be like the big P when we do our prisms, perimeter of your base. So that's where that comes from. And right here, pi r squared, that's how you find the area of a circle. And how many circles are a part of a cylinder? You have two circle bases. So that's where those numbers and values come from right there. All right, we're going to take a look at an example problem now. Okay, so here is example 1. We are going to be finding the lateral and total surface area of this shape. So, first off, for lateral, we're going to be using 2 pi RH. Now the 2 pi, that's part of your formula, so it's just going to automatically be there. What is the radius of this circle, or of this cylinder? It is 9. What is the height, or the altitude of this cylinder? And that is 6. Now there's a special way I want you to write your answers. If we put pi in our calculator, it's going to end up where we have to round and we'll have this decimal. I want an exact answer. So what we're going to do, we will actually multiply the numbers that are not pi. So 2 times 9 times 6. And then we're just going to leave the pi with our answer. So it's going to be part of it. So 2 times 9 times 6 is 108. So I would like you to leave your answer as 108 pi meters squared. This is the closest we can get to the exact answer. That way we're not having to round at all. Okay, now I'm going to scoot this a little bit out of the way. That is our answer for the lateral. And what I want to do now, we're going to do our total surface area. And for this one, our formula is going to be 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Now, like what we did yesterday and the day before, this first part we just solved. We know that part's going to be 108 pi. So we can go ahead and use that. But for the second part right here, we're going to have to plug in our radius. So this will be 2 pi, and the radius is still this 9 right here. Ooh, didn't mean to cover it up. Crazy. All right, so we got 9 squared. Now, like what we did before, we're going to go ahead and do the multiplication with the values that's being multiplied with pi. So this would be 2 times 9 squared. So 2 times 9 squared. That's what you're going to put in your calculator. We got to get that number. And that equals 162, and we just leave the pi with it. Now to write your final answer, scoop this all up. We're going to go ahead and combine like terms. This has got a pi, this has got a pi. So we got to add 108 plus 162. So this final answer would be 270 pi meters squared. Okay, we're going to do one more of these and then we'll go on to cones. Alright, here is example 2. Please feel free to pause if you need to draw the picture. We're going to find the lateral and total surface area of the cylinder. And we are also going to make sure and leave our answer with pi. We want the exact answer, not anything rounded. So for our lateral surface area, we're going to use our formula. 2 pi RH, and we just plug in all our values that we need. The radius, that you can find that on the base of your circle right here. And then the height, remember it's got to go from base to base. It's how long your cylinder is. So we would plug in 2 pi, the radius is 5, and the height is 15. So all we got to do is multiply the number portions. So let's do that now. We got 2 times 5 times 15, which is 150. Okay, so we got 150, and we'll just put pi with our answer. So this will be 150 pi feet squared. There's our first surface area. Now we're going to do the total surface area. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Alright. Good to go. Total surface area, we're going to use the 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Now that first portion, we did that just a second ago. That's this right up here. So we know that's 150 pi. But we got to plug in our radius for this next part. We're going to have 2 pi, and then our radius is 5 squared. Now we will have to go ahead and multiply this part that's with the pi on the second section. So we got 2 times 5 squared, which will be 50. So this second part is really 50 pi, and we already had 150 pi on this side. Now they are like terms, they both have pi, so we can combine those. 150 plus 50 is 200 pi. And you guessed it, we got a label. Feet squared. What was I thinking for? And that's our cylinder. Now we're going to take a look at some cones. Okay, here are the two formulas we're going to be using for cones on our surface area. The lateral, this would be just the fan shape. We're going to be doing pi RL, and remember L from yesterday? That's going to be your slant height. So we have slant height also on cones. And then our total surface area will also include the circle base. So we're going to be finding the area of all the sides. So we'll be using these formulas for our cones. Alright, here is example 3. We have a cone, and we're going to be finding the lateral and total surface area. On the lateral, we're going to be doing pi RL. Pi RL. Okay, so we have pi. Our radius, if you notice down here, we're not given the radius. That 12 is representing a diameter. It goes all the way through the center. So we have to think, what is the radius if the diameter is 12? So we're going to go ahead and plug in half of 12, which is 6. And then our our slant height, that's this leaning right here, is 20. Now, remember the other day we had our altitude and we said that was on the inside? Well, that's the same thing that's happening here. This altitude would be on the inside. Your slant height is what you can actually touch on the outside. So, let's go ahead and multiply the two numbers, 6 times 20. So our final answer that we would write would be 120 pi. We're not going to plug the pi into the calculator. I don't want you to have to round. So we're going to leave this as our answer, and we'll have centimeters squared. And that's our first answer. Now for the next part, we're going to do total surface area, which would be pi RL plus pi r squared. Now we got this first part, pi RL, we got that covered. We just did that up top, so we know it is 120 pi. But right here, we're going to have to plug in our r squared. Now remember r, that was this right here? So we got 6 squared. We need to find out what that actually equals. 6 squared is 36. So I'm just going to bring this down. We do have like terms. They both have the pi. So we're going to add our like terms. 120 plus 36, we get 156 pi. And this will be centimeters squared. This is our last example. We have a cone and we're going to be finding both surface areas of it. So lateral surface area, we got to do pi r L. So right here, we're going to plug in, we got pi. Your radius is 6. And then your slant height, that's the leaning, that's going to be 18. Now to write your answer, I want you to leave pi with it. So you're just going to multiply the two numbers. We got 6 times 18, and that's 108. So this answer would be 108 pi. And our units are in feet. So that would be our first answer. Okay, I'm going to move this up. And now we're going to do our total surface area. So for total, we got our pi RL plus pi r squared. You'll notice on this one, we don't have 2 pi r squared because there's only one base. So we just want to do that circle area once. Okay, the first part, that's what we just did. That's that 108 pi. And now we're going to go ahead and plug in our radius right here and get that second part. So that would be a 6. And 6 squared is 36. So we're just going to combine these two right here. We got 108 pi plus 36 pi, which will add up to 144 pi. Okay, that's all for today. We'll be doing an assignment in class on Monday.